I have noticed on my Facebook newsfeed that a lot of people are doing renovations and various jobs around the house or in the garden. We've had some beautiful weather recently. Maybe you're one of them. Now, perhaps some of those jobs were actually unfinished jobs that had never quite got completed. But with most of us confined to our homes, some maybe have more time to spare and jobs are getting finished. Nobody likes an unfinished job. Most especially, I'm told, spouses. Now, the most important task, job, or mission that a human being has ever completed was accomplished by Jesus. Jesus redeemed the world. He did so through his resurrection. Do you ever wonder, though, if he did redeem the world, then how come the world is not perfect? In fact, at times it feels like the world is a mess. Today in our church we contemplate and we celebrate a feast day that we call the Ascension. It's the moment that Jesus returned to his Father in heaven. It can be tempting to wonder at this point, did Jesus maybe leave an unfinished job behind? The story of the Ascension is the story with which Matthew chooses to conclude his gospel. It's not long, and it's worth listening to. So it says, "Now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. When they saw him, they worshipped him. But some doubted. And Jesus came and said to them, 'All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything that I have commanded you. And remember, I am with you always to the end of the age.'" Did you notice? It says they still doubted. Do you doubt sometimes? And yet Jesus still says to them, "Go, make disciples." You may doubt too, but you're not uninvited. To you too, he says, "Go, make disciples." Now, you may wonder, make disciples? What for? If you're an optimist, you may well say, well, Jesus saved the world already, so the work is done. He doesn't need me. If you're a pessimist, you might say, well, look at the mess that the world is in. Whatever Jesus was meant to do, I'm not sure it worked, and I'm not going to be the one to fix it. Well, if I were a pessimist, I'd say you're both wrong. But I'm going to say that both here have a point. You see, Jesus did redeem the world, but he hands to us the mission of restoring the world. He redeemed, we restore. The Ascension marks the big handover. When he redeemed, and what he redeemed, he hands over to us to restore. I've heard it explained this way. Imagine you owned a house, the perfect house, the house of your dreams. And for whatever reason, the house was taken from you. And the new owners don't love the house the way you do. They don't care about it. They trash the place and they let it run down. And then a third person who owes you nothing, gets the house back, and he gifts the keys to you. The house is yours again, and now it's for you to renovate and to restore that house to its original state. So you see, Jesus, who owes you nothing, gave you back your life. He redeemed you, and he redeemed the world. It is your mission now to restore your life and to restore the world. You see, like those disciples, people doubt the resurrection. They want proof. Where will they find it? Someone sent me a little joke yesterday. It said, today, like Ascension Day, is the day that Jesus started working from home. Jesus did leave the keys with us, but he didn't exactly vanish. He is still working. The proof that Jesus rose again is you. The proof that Jesus rose again is resurrected lives. It's changed lives. The proof that Jesus rose again is precisely in his disciples, those who had doubted but now came to worship and came to believe, who went to the ends of the earth, making disciples, telling people how Jesus had transformed their lives. And so, what about you? Do you see yourself as a disciple? In particular, today we're asking, did you become a disciple in this past year? If you have had a personal encounter with Jesus and have chosen to surrender and to follow, then you became a disciple. Did you maybe discover for the first time this year that he has called you to be a disciple? Perhaps it's something that you never really knew despite years of church going. Maybe you went to church but didn't really feel connected to Jesus. But now, in this past year, you've had a relationship with him. You know he's in your life. Maybe something happened in your life this year that transformed you, and you came to faith in Jesus. Maybe you were facing a big challenge in your life, and you fell, but Jesus raised you again. Do you feel called to fulfill his command, his last wish on earth, which was to make disciples, to tell others how he raised you, so that he may raise them too, through you? Do you feel called to help them overcome their doubts? Think about it. Could you imagine what would have happened if the apostles and the early Christians chose not to share their testimonies about how they encountered Jesus and how he transformed their lives? They shared their testimonies for two reasons: to give glory and thanks to God, but also to bear witness that Jesus is alive, that Jesus is still working through the power of the Holy Spirit. Think about it. If they hadn't shared their testimonies, what would the world look like today? What would your life look like today? You never know how your witness can impact other people's lives. So if Jesus has done something in your life in the past 12 months, and you're comfortable sharing that with others, with our faith community and beyond, we are inviting you to let us know. You can do that by simply sending us an email with a brief testimony so that we can share your story. If you prefer to remain anonymous, just let us know in the email. And so, to celebrate this year's feast of Pentecost, of the coming of the Holy Spirit, of the birth of the Church, which is next Sunday, we will publish these testimonies online on our media to give thanks to God and also to bear witness that Jesus did rise again and that Jesus continues to transform lives.